We don't know what the weather is going to be like around here. I do get really anxious during storms.
That's why they chose HailGuard. When performance leads, confidence follows. Backed by the first and only asphalt shingle system with a hail warranty.
That just gives us more peace of mind.
This is the only asphalt product on the market that has the manufacturer warranty targeting the hail damage, and it gives me a lot of confidence as a contractor.
Engineered for enhanced impact performance. Built to protect homes and reputations. HailGuard shingles. Built for hail.
Good morning, crew. It's Tuesday. It is May 19th. You are on Peaks to Plains Weather, and I am Chief Meteorologist Matt Meister, and this is Mornings with Meister. Thanks for starting your day with me. Came to the studio this morning, had some sleet, and I'm like, I'm going to need some extra American classic coffee. I've got the Rocky Mountain Roast in here. It's so good. Dark chocolate notes, some orange, very good. How are you? Thanks for starting your day with me here. I appreciate it. I'm going to start off with this here this morning, and good news on the Sharp Fire in the southeastern corner of the state around Campo. Fire grew a little bit yesterday on what was a really challenging fire day. Had some southwest wind up around 50 miles per hour. The lines holding around Campo, though, they've had dozers out there, many crews. The fire grew a little bit up to 28,600 plus acres, a 10% containment now. There is a Type 3 management team out of the Pueblo Interagency Center that is managing this fire. They'll continue to do so, but it's a better weather day today for the fire. There are no evacuations. There are no closures. All of that is good news. And here's the deal. The cold front that moved to the south last night has humidity levels this morning in the 70 and 80% ranges. There's a north breeze this morning. Humidity levels will drop, but only into the 20 and 30% ranges, which is actually pretty good news here as we hit the afternoon. We will get a wind shift from the north out of the east here, but the humidity levels come back up tonight. I've got some moisture chances in the forecast for this area as well. That is all good news for the firefighters here that are fighting this fire. So join me in thanking them for their heroic efforts, and great news for the community of Campo. I was talking to the emergency manager in Baca County yesterday, and there is a fire to the east of there. It's the Ballard Fire. It was also a fire that started on the Colorado and Oklahoma line. They did lose a couple of homestead buildings with that fire over the weekend. No buildings that anyone was living in, but sad to lose some homestead buildings. She told me that they were pretty dilapidated, but there haven't been any losses of buildings that anyone is living in, so all of that is certainly good news. Let's jump into what's happening out there this morning, because I tell you what, crew, we've got some active weather out there. Most of us are running cooler than this time yesterday by about 5 to 20 degrees. Biggest temperature drops over the mountain valleys, Alamosa, into the southwestern corner of the state. Temperatures did pretty good overnight from a frost/freeze perspective. I mean, there are mountain areas. It's 28 in Woodland Park this morning, but it's pretty typical to still be getting freezes up on the slopes of Pikes Peak here in the middle part of May. But over the Palmer Divide and northern El Paso County, we did pretty good. Lots of areas staying around freezing or a little bit above. But it's kind of an interesting morning from a precipitation perspective. And we've had some snow up on La Vida Pass. It's 25 there. You can see on Tamco Live radar that we are picking up some echo this morning. There's a mixture of everything out there. There are some rain showers. I had some sleet. There's some snow out there. There is some drizzle. There's some fog. And it's kind of focused along the eastern slopes of the Rockies, the foothills, and the adjacent areas. We're also getting some of that on the southern slopes of the Palmer Divide early this morning. In fact, Susan is watching from Palmer Lake, and she says she's got some fog and some light snow this morning. So, Susan, thanks for that report. And so if you're going to be driving here in the next couple of hours, I think you're going to have to keep your lights on. You're going to have to keep the windshield going. You can see it's a little bit foggy in Monument, and you can see off the side of the road there that we do have a little bit of white. So that matches what Susan just told us from Palmer Lake. Cascade, there are some flakes falling this morning. That's something to be aware of there. You can see that here. It's 33 degrees, a little bit of white on the side of the road. You get up a little bit higher, you can see that it is snowed in Woodland Park. So, snow level's pretty high this morning. Not really getting travel impacts in terms of any winter weather unless you're up really high. Early this morning. And then I got this from Kathleen. She's in the Fairfax neighborhood in Colorado Springs. She's like, it's not rain. It's not snow. It's small white stuff. I think it's sleet that you're getting, Kathleen. That's what I had early this morning. So yeah, you come down into the lower elevations and the temperatures are hanging out around freezing. That's where we are in Falcon this morning. It's 37 on post at Fort Carson. You see visibility's not that great on Highway 115. So, it's certainly unsettled out there. You can see the splashback on I-25 at South Academy in Colorado Springs. Pueblo, about an hour ago, road looked a little bit damp, so it's mainly cloudy. Might be getting a little bit of drizzle here and there as you get up against the hills in Canyon City. It is a little bit wetter certainly this morning, and you head south on I-25. I'll take you on a little bit of a tour here since we have time. That's what we do, right? I'm not up against any time constraints this morning. We'll check out Colorado City here south of Pueblo. And you can see that, yeah, we've certainly had some moisture on the road there. Walsenburg this morning, things get a little bit drier and you head toward Trinidad. Things, not looking like there's any moisture on the road. But you look back toward the hills and you can certainly see that there is moisture in the atmosphere. Humidity levels running 90%. And there are some clouds around as well. So, we do have some impacts out there for sure in terms of weather this morning. And we are in a pattern here where I have more rain, snow, thunder in the forecast over the next couple of days. And so if you are liking this, it's good news. And, some of us on the other end of the spectrum, because here's a report from Two Tides Dreamin' in the San Luis Valley from yesterday. Says it's dry as a bone down here, and we had horrible wind yesterday. Yeah, there was a high wind warning. You had some blowing dust down there. Certainly was a different situation in the valley than what we had east of the mountains and what we've got this morning. So, I'm hoping we can get you some showers here the next couple of days, as I know you guys need it in a really, really big way. So let's talk about our short-term forecast. And I'm going to begin that with a wider view to talk about what's coming from the west, because we have really two things that are driving the forecast here. We've got the cold front, and you can see the leading edge of that's down across Missouri, across Oklahoma, where we have some thunderstorms. But there is lingering energy to our west. Our main sort of wave with this system that kind of opened the door for the trough moving through that kicked across the area yesterday, that is well off to the north up here. That's this thing that's up across the northern plains. That's gone. But that trough back to the west is going to send a couple waves overhead here over the next few days, and that is going to interact with this cooler air at the surface, and those two things are going to give us continued moisture chances. So I think all of that is certainly good news. And you can see that system lifting out of here yesterday over the northern half of the state. On the north end of the jet stream with that is where we had the moisture. On the south end is where we had that really strong wind across the San Luis Valley. You can see there are some gravity waves here that are notable in the satellite. Watch this kind of right in here coming off the Sangre de Cristos. I'll get these out of the way so you can see it. But see how they're kind of little standing waves there? I'm going to let it come through one more time. So cool to see that. So the air was being lifted up over the Sangre de Cristo Mountains and then doing that. Watch it one more time here, just downstream of those arrows that I have. See those? That's so awesome. I love that. The atmosphere is so cool. All right. So, anyways, the southern areas had the wind. We also had some 50-mile-an-hour wind that we talked about down around the Sharp Fire yesterday. But up on the northern end, we had some showers. And this morning, we're kind of focusing things right along the hills, like we talked about. We'll keep the clouds around. In fact, I don't think there's a huge change in the weather conditions over the next couple of hours. Start to get some sun over Pikes Peak as we hit the afternoon here, developing upslope flow, a little bit of downslope off the Raton Mesa. We'll see some increasing sunshine. That will destabilize the atmosphere as we head into the afternoon. So we'll see some rain develop, maybe a thunderstorm. Looks like we'll kind of focus things over the Raton Mesa, the southern Sangres in the afternoon, up across the Palmer Divide and into the Denver area. So we're not done with moisture here as we move over the next 24 hours. Wind-wise, it's a better day. Even in the San Luis Valley, we will see southwest wind develop again today. It's not going to be as strong as it was yesterday. Might get some gusts up around 30 for you guys, but I don't think we're looking at 50 again. Might get a little bit of blowing dust. It's possible, it's just not as likely as yesterday. East of the mountains, we have the upslope, and the wind will be a little bit stronger south of the Arkansas River in the afternoon than what we'll have up across the Pikes Peak region, out toward Lincoln County, Kit Carson County, Cheyenne County, but you get to the south of the river there and you see some of the speeds up around 15 to 20. So all in all, like in terms of the gusty wind, it's a better day than yesterday on what will certainly be a cooler one. For those of us that were in the 80s in Baca County, not going to get there today. We'll flirt with 70 later on. I think Alamosa, we cool back some today. And so it's kind of, a refreshing sort of day here for those of us that were kind of nasty yesterday with the wind and the dust. Overnight tonight, not as cold. Not worried about a frost or a freeze for the areas where we were kind of, worried about that early this morning. And then we're back in the 50s and 60s for Wednesday. So let's talk about what happens overnight, because one of these waves moves across the area. And I think we'll keep some moisture around here as we head through the night. So if in Pueblo, in Canyon City, Colorado Springs, once we get rid of this morning stuff, if we're kind of quiet through the afternoon, we'll pick the moisture up here this evening. And you can see that the snow level is going to start off pretty dang high, because even at 10 o'clock, we're keeping things up on the peaks. That'll change, though, into early Wednesday morning. The snow level will drop some. We might see some snowflakes mix in up over the Palmer Divide, kind of like we're seeing in some spots this morning. We'll get the snow level down to probably around Cascade again. So we're talking maybe, 6,500, probably 6,800 feet here. Accumulation of more than a dusting on the cooler surfaces would be up above 9,500 feet, 9,000 feet, something like that. So up on the peaks, we might get a couple inches of snow as we head into early Wednesday morning, and there may still be some showers around. So that wave kind of heads off to the north, but then look at through Wednesday morning how we keep a southwest to northeast oriented, maybe band of some rain and snow from the mountain areas up across the Palmer Divide into northeastern Colorado. That's lift associated on the north side of the jet streak out ahead of that system I showed you that's hanging back to the west. But there's another wave that kicks through that system as we move into late Wednesday and Wednesday evening. So we get some sun, we hit our high temperatures of the day, we destabilize the atmosphere. This next wave has a little more oomph to it, and it's coming through a little bit earlier than the wave for tonight. So I think there's a better chance of some thunderstorms embedded in the flow out there as we head into Wednesday afternoon. And you can see that Skycast is picking up on that. So out across the eastern plains, this is a better chance for us for some decent rain here as we head from Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday night. And this wave will move east, keep the chance of thunderstorms going. I don't expect any severe weather on Wednesday, but we, keep things around here through the evening, gradually shifting the wave off to the east into early Thursday morning before we'll get the moisture out of here. So Lamar, La Junta, Los Animas, McClave, congrats on your track win. The southeast corner of the state in Springfield. They got a great long distance runner, by the way, in Springfield. And then down around the fires, that's our best chance of moisture coming Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday night and perhaps early Thursday morning before we get that system out of here. So that's just the next few days. I've got more active weather to talk about, and we're going to do that here coming up in a little bit. Hope says that the electricity was out for 3 hours to the north of Cripple Creek. Glad you're back online. Hope, She also says, thank you. You're very welcome. Anne says, good morning to everybody. And then Julie says, we've had drizzle, we've had some slush, rain, big snowflakes at 3 o'clock this morning. She's ready for some sunshine. How quick we get sick of the unsettled weather in Colorado, right? We need this water, Julie. I need you to hang in there. We still need this moisture. In fact, we're still going to be dealing with that as we head into Thursday. So on Thursday, things are a little different because we get a warm and we've got to talk about some severe weather. And so that is brought to you by our severe weather sponsor here on Peaks to Plains Weather. That is Campo Hail Guard. And on Thursday, I tell you what, we've got this wave coming at us from the northwest. And as that does so, it destabilizes the atmosphere. It actually increases the wind shear in the atmosphere, and it's going to help change things up a little bit. We get into the 60s and 70s, which is another bump up from the 50s and 60s of today and tomorrow. That puts a little more oomph into the atmosphere. The other thing that happens is behind that wave that keeps the showers and thunderstorms going into early Thursday morning, the dew point in eastern Colorado is going to be up around 50. And that gets us this time of year thinking, okay, dew points in the 50s, wave off to the northwest, wind shear, and temps in the 70s, that's enough for some severe weather. So watch what happens as we move through the morning on Thursday. You see that we're still in upslope flow here, and the dew points are on the increase. You push that moisture up against the hills, you get some drying over the mountains that starts trying to descend down the hills as we mix up the atmosphere, and it sets the stage for some severe weather. In fact, by noon, we've got the ingredients in place, and I think we're kind of ready to go. Not too far after that. So watch what happens here at noon, between noon and the early afternoon. Maybe some low clouds out over the far eastern plains trying to erode where the deeper moisture is. But up against the hills with the heating, it's called differential heating that we get up against the higher terrain. The surface of the mountains at say 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 feet warms up faster than that same level of the atmosphere out over the plains. That helps to act as the trigger for the thunderstorms to develop. And that wave's coming in from the northwest helping to destabilize things. So you see some storms developing over the Front Range. Now, I'm not sure that they'll be severe up against the mountains because I'm not sure that we've got deep enough water. But as those things move into that 50-degree dew point air, they're going to get stronger, and you see SkyCast picking up on that here as we move through Thursday afternoon. Out in this area, I think our biggest threat on Thursday is probably some hail over an inch in diameter. And you can see that those cells, as they move eastward, are starting to pick up some darker reds and even some real dark reds here as we head through the late afternoon into the early part of the evening, eventually getting everything into Kansas. The other thing that will happen as those storms move eastward is you probably notice they elongated a little bit. So we move from this sort of threat of hail when they're moving between Lyman and La Junta to a continued hail threat, but a straight line wind threat as they go what we call upscale and move east toward Kansas. So that's kind of what I'm watching for on Thursday. We'll talk more about that over the next couple of days because it's kind of an interesting weather situation. Then we start eyeing our holiday weekend. I'll take a short break. I'll talk about that when we come back. You're on Peaks to Plains.
At Phil Long Ford Motor City, we've been around for 80 years. That's like 560 in dog years. Basically, we're the top dogs of Colorado. And thanks to our deals, selection, and service, we've earned some pretty loyal customers. And our GM Mark, he's the most loyal guy I know. Even after I chewed up his shoe, it was delicious.
Great trucks, amazing deals, and belly rubs for dogs. Come see why Colorado drives Phil Long Ford Motor City. Hey guys, where's my shoe?
Emergencies are unpredictable, but you don't have to be unprepared. Peak Alerts sends you targeted emergency alerts in real time for the places that matter to you most, so you know what's happening and what to do next. Know first, act fast. That's the power of Peak Alerts.
This is John May, General Manager of Petrale Roofing, up on another customer's roof doing a free 21-point inspection. If you'd like us to take a look at your roof, give us a call today, 719-375-8773. We'd be happy to take a look and see the condition of your roof. Petrale Roofing, we're a Diamond certified TAMCO installer, which means we can offer a industry-leading 25-year workmanship warranty to give you peace of mind in the storm. Call Petrale Roofing, 719-375-8773. Schedule your free inspection today.
Grow something beautiful this season. Hydrix Colorado Tree Farm Nursery has trees, shrubs, and perennials that are grown for our harsh climate. Plant smarter with expert guidance and quality plants. Visit coloradotreefarmnursery.com.
All right, as we look at the extended forecast, I want to come back to the snow potential over the Sangre de Cristos, the Wet Mountains, and Pikes Peak, because I think we'll keep the snow pretty high here over the next couple of days. I mean, you might get, dusting on the grass from Cascade up toward Woodland Park, but it's higher than that on the slopes and the peaks here, where we end up getting a little bit more in the way of snow. The outlier is if you get hit by one of these convective bursts. I mean, we're at the time of year here where even if there's not a thunderstorm, there's still some convection happening in the precipitation a lot of times, and the increased rate of precipitation that we get with that convective nature to the showers helps to cool the column a little bit and will drop the snow line a little bit lower than it looks like on the large scale. So just know that there's a little bit of a kind of transition here. I mean, if somebody up across, the Palmer Divide here, would I be shocked if somebody got a ½ inch of snow or something like that if it was the right time of night or morning? I wouldn't. It's just more likely up across the higher areas here over the next few days. So let's start talking about how things change up as we head into the holiday weekend. Because after this stretch here, where we're waiting for this system to move across the area from the west, again, it's sending waves over the top of this cooler air that's upslope at the surface, so we get several rounds of moisture. We watch this system come in for Thursday, give us the severe weather. That heads off to the east for Friday. And can't rule out some thunderstorms Friday afternoon, but our atmosphere should be a little bit drier. But that system moving through starts to give way to a building ridge here over the western U.S. And so the pattern is different as we move into the weekend. We're still going to have enough lingering moisture around that we could catch a thunderstorm here as we move through Saturday. But you see these black lines kind of going up over here. Temperatures will warm up. Again, a chance of a thunderstorm on Sunday, kind of more tied to the mountain areas than over the plains. And then the moisture is maybe a little bit thicker here as we head into Monday, as we start to get a system developing over the west coast. But there's good news there with some timing for the holiday weekend as we warm back up and things get a little less active. Can't really take the chance of storms out of the forecast, especially up against the higher terrain here. But look at that extended for Colorado Springs. I'll dry us out a little bit for Saturday and for Sunday. We head into early next week. Storm chances start to increase a little bit. You're not going to get a storm every day in there, but it's the time of year. In fact, as we head into late May here and early June, eventually, we kind of get into the peak of severe weather season. The atmosphere starts getting a little more oomph to it as temperatures are consistently here in the 70s and 80s once we move past Memorial Day. And then we also end up getting low-level moisture on the increase across eastern Colorado. So I do have a chance of storms in the forecast here every day for Woodland Park. And I know if you have plans, you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh my goodness, Meister, what are you doing to me? But notice the percent chances that I have come down a little bit over the holiday weekend. And so that means more hit and miss type stuff. And then the coverage of the storms may pick up a little bit more as we head into early next week. A reminder for you, you can get the forecast in detail for where you are in the Peaks to Plains weather app. I did some updating in what I call our grids this morning. So some of the descriptions of what I have, I got in there and changed some things here for the next couple of days. And you can certainly get in there, look at the next couple of hours as well, and the forecast for next week. So It's always there for you whenever you need it. And if you haven't told your friends and family about Peaks to Plains weather, we would appreciate you doing so. Jennifer says she's got a graduation day today. I don't know if that's for you or for somebody else, but either way, congratulations. Anna is checking in this morning and she says, good morning. Want to let you know you can always join me here on the show. If you want to come on, if you would like to share an experience that you have had, if you want to ask a detailed question, if you want to give a weather person crap about a forecast that you were not happy with, I'll take it for everybody. That's fine. You can always use these links here. It's vmix.at. Then we have two options for you. zmSjK, and the S and K are capitalized, and then 1RJSL1. And that allows you to use a web browser either on your phone, your desktop, your tablet, and you can come on the show here with me. And, we can chat about things because that's what we want to do here. We want to help you guys out. We want to be here for you, and we want to answer your questions. I just did a half hour. I am, some would say, a windbag. I don't know. I would say I'm blessed. Pamela says to have a blessed day. Pamela, I hope you have a blessed day as well. Thanks for starting your day with Peaks to Plains weather. I am grateful. Mary is grateful. She'll be in this afternoon and this evening, of course. And we thank you for watching Peaks to Plains weather. A reminder to you, we would be grateful if you supported our Peaks to Plains weather partners. We are helping them grow their small businesses, and they are helping Peaks to Plains weather be available to you. So if you go to peakstoplainsweather.com, up under our advertise tab, we've got our partners there. Would love for you to check them out. We are grateful for them. We've got Phil Long Ford, Motor City, of course, home of the 1 hour deal. Ramos Law just signed back up with us here through the end of the year. All of our great partners that we have, Diligent Homes. We've got Remax of Pueblo, the barrier team. I think I'm going to talk to her today and do a little interview with her. I'll have that tomorrow morning. And, it's great to be doing something new and fun. Leticia says, I love how we get a dry, sunny weekend in Colorado Springs to get the farmers markets kicked off. That's good timing. I mean, I tried to order it up for the holiday weekend. Ann says it's still snowing in Briargate. Yeah, on what is a mixed bag of precipitation this morning. And Deanne says, I've got beautiful moisture in Canyon City. She has had over a 1/4 inch at her house. That is awesome. I love seeing that. Some of us will get more than that here over the next couple of days if we can get a few rounds of showers. That's it for me this morning, my friends. Enjoy your Tuesday. Enjoy the unsettled weather here for the next couple of days. Remember, anytime you need a forecast or you're like, what the heck is going on outside, download the Peaks to Plains weather app.